Jim Hightower, which is a true privilege to introduce. I'm sure you have heard him on the radio. If you have not read one of his many books, read his populist political newsletter, he is one of America's great populists, and he's also incredibly funny. But along with that humor brings a deep morality that I find extremely moving. So I am thrilled to introduce Jim to round out our discussion. The man who is fighting the powers that be on the behalf of the powers that ought to be: consumers, working families, small businesses, farmers, environmentalists, and just plain folks.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. What a joy to be here with my longtime cohort and co-conspirator Lori, and with Zephyr's doing such a terrific job on so many issues, and including the great run for office here, and Margaret now running for office down there, and Kevin and his terrific work. I'm happy to bring up the rear, and I'm sure by now you're ready to bring your rears up. So I'll be mercifully brief here. I just thank the organizers for allowing a scruffy Texas Populist to come to church here in this Center of Erudition and Enlightenment, and to be part of this gluten-free rabble-rouser, this free-range TPP palooza that we're having here tonight, and to be in the presence of you grassroots agitators for America's proud progressive values of economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. That's actually what America stands for. We don't hear it enough, do we? But that is the creed of America: fairness, justice, opportunity for all. I can tell you from experience that we progressives don't win fights this big or even smaller by going inside the chambers of legislatures, but by going to the countryside and rallying the outsiders to come inside. That's when we win. And that is what has been happening here, and that's why we're this far along. The great leadership of Lori and her team, 11 people. Lori and her staff of 11 people drove the bastards to the wall. In an impossible fight. As Kevin was saying, something that nobody even knew what was this thing. They didn't even know what it was. Yet we put it on the national agenda by bringing you good folks forward to get in the face of power. And that's what we've got to do more of. I come to you not merely from Austin, Texas, but from South Austin. We're a little more irreverent on the south side of the river over there. And our unofficial slogan is, we're all here because we're not all there. I think that's why we're all here tonight, is because we know that the corporate and political powers that be, excuse the redundancy there, are not at all there on grasping the essential uniting theme that we're all in this together. In fact, they're as confused as goats on astroturf when it comes to trying to understand the essential power of that thought, and the fact that that is what brings America together. And follow up on what Kevin was saying, I think that we are in another of those one of the course of human events moments that Thomas Jefferson wrote about a couple of hundred years ago. A moment in which the global corporate elites, with the entire Republican establishment, are engaged in a kleptocratic cabal with Barack Obama, with Rahm Emanuel, with the Daily Boys out of Chicago, with a covey of pusillanimous corporate Democrats. Some of our Democrats, let's be honest, are weaker than Canadian hot sauce when it comes to standing up to the powers that be in this country. And what we have in this just god-awful glob of global corporate gobbledygook is a shameful sneak attack on our people's sovereignty, our right to be a self-governing people, as these good folks have explained here tonight how this completely undermines that very basic concept that creates America itself. And the junta is using every tool, every weapon that they have in their arsenal to overthrow our people's rights. They're using the bully pulpit of the presidency itself. They're using lies. They're using campaign cash. They're using their armies of lobbyists, their hokey impact reports, and their bought and sold academics. They're using more cash. They're using TV ads. They're using lies. They're using personal attacks. They're using bribery. They're using PR agents. Did I mention they're using lies? You know, they say in sex, and I don't know a whole lot about this. Chuck Zlatnick was trying to explain it to me. They say that in sex, using a feather can be erotic, but using the whole chicken, that is just nasty. That is cheap, perverse. Well, these people are using the whole chicken again. Well, now for the good news. The people of America are revolting, in the very best sense of that term. I'm a lucky duck in that I get to travel a whole lot. I've been just about every place that's got a zip code, including a lot of places to talk about this topic, and not just the safe havens of San Francisco or someplace like that, but down in Bakersfield, California, out in Texas, El Paso, for example, was out there recently, in Chicago, in Madison, in North Carolina, and elsewhere, and everywhere. The people are on to this. And if they're not onto it, it's very easy to explain it to them. You can see it in the polls. The polls are overwhelmingly in our favor right now. You can go to any chat and chew cafe in America and just sit on the stool and talk to the person next to you, and they will understand exactly what you're talking about here. And by they, I mean Republicans as well as Democrats and independents. Now, Lyndon Johnson used to say you can't make chicken salad out of chicken manure. Didn't say manure, but that's all they have to work with, as these good folks have explained to you here today. When anybody in America gets a whiff of what's in this thing, they just gag. When they hear who was at the table and who was not, they are revolted. When they learn about the fast-track railroad job that's been done on us, it just sets their hair on fire. And as Laurie indicated, there are 500 corporations sitting at the table doing the writing of drafts, commenting on it. They were inside. None of us were inside. None of us. There's no saying that union folks will know that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And people get that. And so they're saying, don't TPP on me. That's become a slogan that is out there as well. So my message to you, and I'm sure you're wondering what it is by now, is it is up to us. It's not up to Public Citizen, Global Trade Campaign. It's not up to the good folks here in the CWA and the other great unions that are fighting this. It's not up to the organizations. It's up to you and to me. We have to be the messengers, carrying this way beyond our comfort level. We got to be talking about it in our churches, in our union halls, in the workplaces, in the Kiwanis clubs, assaulting people on the street if necessary, and filling them in on what the hell this is about. We've also got to be the confronters. We have got to get in the face of power, and that means knocking on the door and knocking on the head of your Congress critic. You don't have to go to Washington. They've got an office here. Go see them there. Take a little delegation, maybe a minister, maybe a small business person, maybe a teacher, maybe a student. Have a little delegation and just go and say, look, we are taxpayers. This is something that's going to affect us drastically. And we're watching what you're doing. And we want you to respond to us as well as to the bankers and as well to the corporate suites. We've got to confront them, that we know what's going on. We know what they're doing. And we're seeing it. And we're not going to just lay over if they go against us. We're going to go against them. And then we've got to be the ralliers to pull all this together into something bigger than just individuals and individual groups, but a large coalition. That's already happening. It's already available out there. We just have to fill it out a little more. I'm saying to you that it's no longer enough for us to be progressive. We've been passively progressive forever. But the powers that be have turned radically regressive. So we've got to become aggressive, getting right in their face. I was just a few years ago when Bernie Sanders first ran for Congress. I was up in Vermont speaking Texan to him, and we had a rally at Montpelier at the state capitol. And after the rally, this guy came up and wearing a big old button, a great big one, and the best one I've ever seen. I said, "Wearing a button is not enough. We can't be a nation of button wearers. It'll be a little stouter than that." And this, as all the panelists have been saying here, is not just another issue. This is about our democracy, about whether we will be a self-governing people or we're going to turn it over to the transnational corporations. Cynics say, you people are fools. You can't beat the corporate powers. You can't overturn the corporate order. They've got all the money. They've got all the politicians. They've got the media. But as a friend of mine who's been a pioneer in the organic movement down in Texas said to me once, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be you. Ordinary, workaday people are the ones who are doing it. So we've got to step it up, do a little more, keep on keeping on, but just more so. I grew up in a small town north of Dallas in Texas on the Oklahoma border there, and I was a small guy, and so but I learned early on as a kid there that you should never hit a man with glasses. You should use something much heavier. And the heavy thing that we have is this room full of agitators, informed, people willing to stand up for the rights of all of us to be a self-governing people. TPP is not about trade, as Lori went through. It's not about anything technical, really. It's about our values. Who are we going to be as a people? Who are we now? Are we willing to stand up? This is the watershed right here. And those values of economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all are at risk. Who are we to be? And by the way, we need to be reminding people and Congress critters and the media and all of them out there that inequality, that's now a buzzword, in politics. Inequality. I'm against inequality. But inequality doesn't just happen. It's created by deliberate decisions like this. So Barack Obama cannot stand up and say, I'm against inequality, but I'm for the TPP. The economists have a technical term for what's happening to us. It's called stealing. Woody Guthrie had that great song about outlaws, Pretty Boy Floyd the Outlaw. Had a verse in it that says, through this world I travel. I see lots of funny men. Some will ride me with a 6-gun, and some with a fountain pen. It's the fountain pens who are doing the serious stealing today. And that's what we're up against. But we can beat them. We have been beating them. And we will beat them because of you. Yeah, I know the odds are against us. Just one quick little story. I was with our old friend Fred Harris out in Albuquerque recently, and we were sitting around a table doing some 12-ounce elbow bends there, and the topic turned to baseball, and then somebody mentioned Lou Gehrig, and this younger guy at the table said, Lou Gehrig, who's Lou Gehrig? We said, well, the New York Yankee, the Hall of Fame, terrific ball player, and he died young, died of Lou Gehrig disease, and this guy said, he died of Lou Gehrig disease. So what are the odds of that? I don't know what I'm saying to you about that, but basically I'm saying don't hold back. We need you. We've got to organize, mobilize, harmonize, and do more. Most importantly, we've got to intensify this effort. I'll leave you with this thought. It's from Louis Grizzard, the late great Southern humorist, who said something once that we in the South have always known to be true, and that is, there's a great big difference between being naked and being naked. Naked means you've got no clothes on, but naked, that means you've got no clothes on and you are up to something. So let's get naked together. Thank you very much. Thanks for what you're doing.